This is Frank Tyndall. I'm about to explain how the Graze sheet operates. This particular sheet has been set up for the McAllister demonstration farm, and there is a little map on the sheet so that you don't lose track of your paddocks. Typically this sheet would be filled in once a week and printed off and carried around so that you can quickly know what paddock is next on the list to be grazed and how many feeds to be got from that paddock. Now, the aim of the Graze sheet is to achieve the rotation length you require, or the rest time between grazings that you would require. And notice that that number of days is entered in this blue cell here, and it is asking for 30 days rotation or 30 days rest time between grazings. The other purpose of the sheet is to supply a very consistent amount of grass each day per cow, and also to apply a very consistent grazing pressure to each paddock. Now let's look at, over on the left hand side here, some of the information. First of all, here are all the paddocks numbered. The next column is the area of each paddock. The next column, which is a blue one, for putting something in there, asks, is it in the rotation? And if a Y is entered there, it means that that paddock is actually in the grazing rotation. Notice that paddock 13 is out, so it is not used for this particular grazing rotation. Possibly it's got young stock on it, or dry cows, or whatever. The next column has got the amount of feed in kilograms of dry matter per hectare that is typically available on that paddock when it is ready for grazing. Now you'll notice paddock 7 has got 1600 kilograms of dry matter entered for it, whereas paddock 1, which is nowhere near as good a growing paddock, has only got 700 kilograms. Now when that information is entered, this little few boxes up here show you how many paddocks you actually have in the rotation, which says 25, the total area of the rotation, 62 hectares, the average amount of feed available for the whole 62 hectares. You can enter how many cows that you are grazing on the area at the moment, and it will tell you the stocking rate. Over here, it also shows you how many kilograms of grass is available per cow per day if this rotation is carried out. So back over here in this column here, it says individual paddock rotation adjustment. If this column has a 1 in it, it means that that paddock is to be grazed exactly on the rotation length that you require. If it has something less than 1, for example 0.9, it will be grazed on 90% of the rotation that you require. For example, paddock 7 has a 0.9, so what you are saying is you would like to graze it at 90% of 30 days, which is 27 days. So for some reason you would like to graze paddock 7 earlier than the others, and this sheet works that out. This next little section here has the dates that the paddocks were grazed recently. Notice it's a blue cell, all these are blue cells, so once again any blue cell can be typed into, and it needs information in it to calculate the next paddock due and how many feeds. So the result of this particular setup at the moment is that paddock 7 is next. It was grazed 26 days ago, so probably tomorrow it will be grazed, and so it will come in at 27 days. Remember, we asked for paddock 7 to be grazed earlier than the 30 days we're asking up here. It says that there are to be 4 grazings for this paddock, and remember it's set at 2 grazings per day, So this is in effect 2 days of grazing. This figure is rounded off for convenience, and in fact if you look in the next column, the very accurate number of grazings should be 4.3, but it's assumed that no farmer would go to the trouble of trying to get 4.3 feeds out of a paddock, so it's rounded to 4. However, to be deadly accurate, 4.3 feed should be got from that paddock. So this is the not rounded column, and you'll notice that some cells are brown and some are green. If the cells are brown, it means this paddock is likely to be overgrazed slightly. And you'll notice that this paddock 1 says 0.8 of a feed, and in fact you'll have to push it to 1 if you round it off. So it'll be slightly overgrazed. Paddock 8 will be slightly undergrazed. Now you'll notice also that it's only the paddocks that have low numbers of grazing, for example here 1, that show up as being somewhat under or overgrazed, and that's because small paddocks are inflexible for grazing purposes. It's better to have more bigger paddocks, and in fact this Graze sheet really shows you need 25 paddocks approximately on any farm to get really good flexible grazing. Now what I will do is enter a date here and say that it was to be grazed on the 23rd of March. So let's say that paddock was grazed on the paddock 7 grazed on the 23rd of March. So we type that in and then put the cursor in this pink coloured column, the ordering column, and resort it. So what you'll notice is that paddock 7 has now gone down to the bottom and paddock 1 has risen to the top, and it has been grazed 29 days ago. So it's ready for grazing tomorrow, and it will be grazed on the 30 days. One more thing I should show you is that this paddock 8 has a Y over here saying, do you want to mow or top this paddock next time? Now you might do that if you knew you left quite a residue in that paddock last grazing, and you'd like to be reminded that next grazing it should really be topped. So you'll notice as paddock 8 comes to the top, it's still got its red coloured Y, indicating to you that you need to be ready to top this paddock. Either mow it before the cows go in and graze it and let them graze mown windrows, or mow it afterwards. So that's just an extra little tool in the sheet. So the purpose of the sheet is to achieve the rotation that you would like and to get a consistent amount of grass offered per cow per day and very consistent grazing. And this sheet, if kept up to date, achieves those objectives.